My days working, taking care of my little ones can be a lot. I checked out care.com and it was so easy for me to find local, experienced, and background check sitters. Finding our babysitter was way more affordable than I thought. Care.com makes it super easy. Search for qualified candidates. You can view their profiles, read reviews and ratings, check their availability, send messages directly, and get the help that you need. Care.com should be every person's go-to.
You've discovered your link to GoPowerCat.com's PowerCat podcast. Now, here's your host, GoPowerCat.com publisher, Tim Fitzgerald.
Well, some days just don't go as planned. Certainly did not for the Kansas State Wildcats today in Ames, Iowa, against the 17th-ranked Iowa State Cyclones. Iowa State wins 45-0. You did not hear that wrong. 45-0. If you went out shopping in the first quarter, if you just decided to watch a movie by halftime, no one would have blamed you. It was 35-0 at halftime as this game came unraveled pretty quickly for Kansas State. And we will dissect it all on this edition of the PowerCat Postgame podcast sponsored by Caddyshack Golf. I am Tim Fitzgerald, publisher of GoPowerCat.com. And we are joined by the old offensive lineman, Brian Hanley, played on the 97 and 98 teams. I don't know that he's drinking right now, but again, I would not blame him if he was. But I know one thing about K-State fans is they don't lose their purple just because their team loses a game. And if you want some cool purple stuff, head on over to Caddyshack Golfwear. It's Caddy with 2 T's. Visit CaddyshackGolf.com for all of your officially licensed Golfing Willie apparel, accessories, and more. Use code GPC for free shipping on your next order, and we appreciate the folks at Caddyshack Golf sponsoring us. Oh boy, Brian, I've got some sound I want to play, but first, I want to get your thoughts on this game. I'm not even going to set it up. Give me your thoughts.
It was just bad. I mean, we had a stinker at West Virginia. Clearly, this was way worse. I mean, just way worse. I mean, just not competitive from the word go. We had the first opening drive and some questionable play calling near the goal line, and then that was the end of it. I mean, this was just ugly, man. There's a lot of things that I could say, but it was just a bad. I mean, got to get more talent.
Yeah.
So you just got to get more talent. That's just the bottom line. We're just not deep enough. So when we're missing guys, it's ugly. And this one was ugly. Man, it was ugly.
There's been a great deal of roster attrition over the course of this season. Even more guys left the program, and K-State played this game without its starting linebackers, Justin Hughes and Elijah Sullivan. It showed. They didn't have any depth there. And as Chris Kleiman said, it certainly isn't an excuse. They've got to step up and play when they're called upon. But, boy, guys did not step up. And you saw signs of trouble from the very beginning in this game. Iowa State went down and scored. They had the first possession of the game. But K-State answered and marched 62 yards. And I thought, okay, we got a shootout here. They get a first and goal at the 3. And they don't score, Brian. They don't score. Yeah. They called 4 plays. I would have gone for it, too. You got to stop kicking field goals.
Absolutely.
You got to try to punch it in there. I feel like it might have been a game for longer if they had punched it in. But clearly Iowa State was the better team today. Kansas State had 62 yards on that failed first drive and gave the ball back to Iowa State at the 3. Kansas State had 87 yards of offense from that point on in the entire game. That's pitiful. That is awful beyond description. And they even had a few runs from Deuce Vaughn that kind of broke loose a little bit. They just could not move the ball. They couldn't throw it. They couldn't run it with any consistency. Will Howard was out of sorts and just got drilled late in the second quarter and was replaced by backup Nick Ost at the end of the first half. And Ost went the rest of the way in the game because there was no purpose of putting the guy who is your starter at this point of the season in any more peril and just try to save him for the end run of the season. But Brian, for me, this game started to go bad as soon as Kansas State gave up a first down to the Cyclones. It was 3rd and 12 at the Iowa State 23.
Yep.
They had Iowa State in a good situation. They had just tackled Breece Hall for, I think, a 3-yard loss. And Brock Purdy finds Xavier Hutchinson down the middle of the field for 20 yards, pick up a first down, and that leads to the touchdown. K-State goes down and can't convert the 3rd down nor the 4th down at the mouth of the goal line. Gives Iowa State the ball back, and Iowa State is facing a 3rd and 4 at its own 9, and Purdy looks to Hutchinson again. He didn't catch this one, but there was pass interference on Echo Boydo. 1st and 10 at the 15. Next play, 28-yard pass from Purdy to Hutchinson, and off they go again for another scoring drive. And really, Brian, the route was on at that point. And I asked Coach Chris Kleiman at the end of the game in the post-game press conference a series of questions. I'm just going to play him here. I asked him 3 questions, and it started with this. How big were 3rd downs in the course of this game?
Well, that was our biggest emphasis in pregame as well as throughout the week, is we had to be really good on both sides of the ball on 3rd down, because it would allow somebody to control the game and control the tempo. And obviously, Iowa State won that battle on both sides of the ball, so they were able to stay on the field. And we had several opportunities. We had an opportunity to get off the field the first 3rd down of the game, and we don't get off the field because we blow a coverage. So that was critical. And then after the first drive, I don't know if we converted another 3rd down, and if we did, it wasn't very many of them. So it was a really a big key.
62 yards on that first drive of the game for your offense, 87 the rest of the game. Did it just feel like absolutely nothing would work offensively after that first drive?
Yeah, they did some nice things with starting to pressure more, but we didn't sustain the line of scrimmage well enough up front, and then we can't be in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. We need to be in 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 4 to have an opportunity, and that's why we went for it on a couple of 4th downs, just to try to keep our defense off the field, and just wasn't in the cards today. We just didn't make enough plays, and it's the one thing about it is we did talk, nobody can point any fingers, because I didn't think defense played very well. I didn't think offense played very well, and we didn't do enough things on special teams.
Do you immediately begin trying to get the guys to wipe this clean and get this behind them, because you still have things on the table? You can still go 6-3 in the Big 12.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't want them to forget this feeling. This one needs to sting. And so it's going to hurt for the next 24 hours. And then when we come back in on Monday, and it's not a short week, but it's going to seem like a short week with Thanksgiving, we have to go to work and we have to continue to improve. We have to get better on both sides of the ball, and I don't know if we're going to get any more guys back this week. I just don't know on that respect. So whoever's available, they've got to step up and realize that they may have to play every snap of the game. If Lord willing, we're able to get through the rest of the week in COVID, we may have the same group.
Brian Hanley, next week is Thanksgiving, but the turkey arrived early and landed in Ames. I love Chris Kleiman's attitude after the game. Don't forget this. And I don't know that he's been through this before as a coach. A whooping that bad, that monumental, that decisive. I like to make fun of Coach Campbell, Matt Campbell at Iowa State, because I think Iowa State thinks a little bit more of him than he's actually accomplished. Today, his program looked absolutely legitimate. And they might be really sorry this happened, because I bet you the AD at Michigan was watching this game as they begin to consider if it's time for a new coach. This game and what happens from here on out in this season, if Iowa State makes it to the Big 12 championship, might end up costing Iowa State a coach that they love very dearly, because Iowa State finally looked like the team that Iowa State has wanted to be.
Yeah, they looked really, really good today. I know we helped them, but they helped themselves. Iowa State played very well today. Very well. I like Campbell. He's not the greatest coach. And it's just kind of what you said. I think Iowa State believes that he's a lot better than what he's actually accomplished. But they played well today. And looks like they got it turned around. You know, it was one of those programs that seemed to, okay, we're going to put them on this pedestal, and then they would drop, and then put them on a pedestal, and then they would lose and fall and drop. And they did that at the beginning of the year, and it looks like they may have got some things figured out, because today was just an absolute shellacking from pillar to post, start to finish. They were the better coach team, had more talent, more physical team. They played well.
Absolutely. Breece Hall, the Wichita Northwest product, cut through the K-State defense after they did a pretty good job with him on that first drive and early in the game. Then he really got in a rhythm. Only carried the ball 15 times, Brian Hanley. 135 yards, a long of 33, averaged 9 per carry. Brock Purdy, the quarterback, carried it 7 more times for 59 yards and an average of 8.4. Purdy was amazing throwing the ball. 16 of 20, 236, 3 TDs. The turnover-prone quarterback had 0 in this game. And Xavier Hutchinson, who I mentioned earlier at receiver, 6 catches, 111 yards. That's an average of 18.5. They just absolutely dismantled K-State. On the other side, Deuce Vaughn, 7 carries, 44 yards, an average of 6.3. Maybe that's the highlight of the game. But they couldn't really get Deuce broken loose very often, except for one 23-yard run and maybe another decent carry. Nick Ost came in and completed 6 of 10 for 44, did have a horrible fumble in the game. Will Howard, 3 of 9, 32. The true freshman quarterback hit rock bottom and got pulled. Do you worry that this will damage his psyche going forward?
Yeah, I do. He took a big step back today. I know that he didn't get a lot of help, so that's one thing that you have to look at. He did, but he played bad. You know, in other games, it wasn't him that playing bad. You know, he maybe had a turnover, you know, that may have cost him, but he didn't play bad overall. Today he did. Looked like he didn't even want to be. I don't know if he didn't want to be out there, but he looked like a freshman that was scared to death. He just didn't play a very good football game. He didn't get a whole lot of help. But yeah, I worry about it. But the coaching staff, if the coaching staff can do their job and just get in the right frame of mind and just get this one behind us, if we can get some guys healthy and get some guys out there, you know, this will help. It will help him because he needs help. He can't do it by himself. And it's unfortunate the season has gone the way that it has here lately. I feel bad for all K-State fans and players. It's an unfortunate thing what's going on right now. We've just got to band together and help each other out and just keep working. The guys just have to keep working. They can't quit. They can't give up.
No, they can't. It was a very frustrating day. Kansas State just doesn't have many answers on offense right now. Malik Knowles was out this game due to contact tracing, and as we reported at Go Power Cat, he is considering transferring to another Division I institution, and that can't help because a lot of guys are transferring. They have a true freshman quarterback, a true freshman running back, an injured senior tight end in Briley Moore, who was targeted only once that I remember today, and he got thrown out of the way. Should have been interference if you ask me, as the linebacker picked off the ball, but you also can't let yourself get tossed aside like that.
No.
They were just the more definitive team. Iowa State just wanted to kick K-State's butt, and they did it in this game, and it was impressive. And now the Cyclones are set up very nicely, very, very nicely for a spot in the Big 12 Championship. If they can take care of business during their final 2 games, that will indeed happen. But K-State has to reset. As I told or asked Chris Kleiman, they are still in a pretty good position in this conference at 4-3. Yes, they've lost 3 in a row, but they've lost to 3 pretty good defenses and teams in West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Iowa State. Baylor is not cut from the same cloth as those teams. They go to Waco. I don't know what they'll have. I doubt they have their linebackers back if they are indeed COVID positive. I don't think they'll be cleared by then. You got to win it, Brian. This is the one. You got to take your stand and make it in Waco and get back on the winning track so you can close the season out with Texas at home. You can't go into a 5-game losing streak spiral to end your season.
No, absolutely not. They got to make their stand right now. It's just what you said. It's a good point, Tim. Got to make a stand. I don't care what's going on. We got to band together. We just got to go win a football game. It does wonders when you're in a tailspin to just go out and play well. Go play well. Go be the physical team. Go win. That's all. I shouldn't say that's all we got to do. I make it sound easy, but we got to go out there and compete. Today, we didn't do a good job of competing. We just didn't. We got to go compete. We got to go win this football game. Just reset and just basically say, hey, it's a 2-game season. It's a 2-game season starting right now, today, this very second, a 2-game season, and just continue to do the things that we do well and just get back to that. Just get back to it. Forget the game today. I mean, they physically took us apart. Okay, that's fine. Let's move on. Let's do the things that we know we can do well, and let's just go and do it. Let's get some guys healthy again and get back to competing. If guys don't want to be in the program, you know what? Forget them. Let's move on, and let's just be who we are, do the things that we can do, and just go win a football game. Just go win a football game.
Absolutely. This podcast won't be real long, but at the other side of this break, we will have questions from Wabash Station. I'm sure there's some doozies awaiting us. I haven't even looked at the thread yet, Brian. It could be interesting. But as we go into our break here on the PowerCat Postgame Podcast, sponsored by Caddyshack Golf, the great and wise Deuce Vaughn, we turn to a true freshman running back for a lesson on leadership here as K-State gets prepared for Baylor. Here's what Vaughn said when the media asked him about leadership.
The coach has been tugging at us to take leadership in our own team and take command of our team. Really, they always tell us this is our team, and I feel like we have to do a better job as players. I mean, whether you're a freshman, redshirt freshman, a fifth-year senior, I mean, you have to hold your team accountable because, I mean, days like this, I mean, all I want to do is get back to work. And as a leader, I need to be better as well. And I know that. And that's exactly what I'm going to work on whenever we get back to it. And I'm going to hold my teammates accountable. I know they're going to hold me accountable. And whenever we start to get that clicking and everything, I feel like we'll be unstoppable. I mean, I have respect for every single guy on this team right now, and I hope they have the same respect for me. So whenever it comes down to it, if everybody has respect for each other, you don't really need one leader at the top or 5. I mean, you can have an entire team of leaders because everybody respects each other as a football player and as a teammate, and that's just the biggest thing for me.
The PowerCat Podcast will be right back.
JamesAllen.com is the online destination to easily design a customized engagement ring and save up to 50% compared to traditional stores. You pick a diamond, whether it's lab-created or earth-created, James Allen has over 200,000 conflict-free stones. Then you pick your ring setting and metal. And if you need some help, they have real-time diamond consultations available, where an expert can walk you through it all. Get 25% off your order at JamesAllen.com, code PODCAST. That's JamesAllen.com, code PODCAST.
The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/247 and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Must be 21 plus and present in Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, permitted parishes only, Massachusetts, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, or Wyoming. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700, or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia, or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York, or visit oasas.ny.gov/gambling. Standard text messaging rates apply. Sports betting is void in Georgia, Hawaii, Utah, and other states where prohibited.
We now send it back to the PowerCat podcast.
Welcome back to the PowerCat Postgame podcast. It was uglier than me without a shirt. 45-0. Iowa State beats Kansas State in Ames today. They came out in their all blacks and beat Kansas State black and blue from the very start of the game. They go down the field and score. They stop K-State from scoring on its first possession after the Wildcats and young quarterback Will Howard had gone the length of the field to get to the 3. They deny them points, and then the rout was on as Iowa State was relentless in building a 35-0 halftime lead. You want relentless? Go to Caddyshack Golf because they have some really relentless stuff with K-State on them with it. The Golfin' Willie. Go check it out. I love their apparel. For K-Staters, by K-Staters, jackets, hats, polos, T-shirts, golf accessories. Caddyshack Golf Wear, caddy with 2 T's. Visit caddyshackgolf.com and make sure you use the code GPC for free shipping on your next order. Go check them out. I've got some Caddyshack stuff, and I love it. I love it. I certainly like it a lot more than this football game and talking about it. Brian, let's open up this thread here. I'm literally opening up the thread to see what's in here while I'm recording this. And Jedediah wants to know, is there a silver lining to this game? Because he is struggling to find one. I think the silver lining is the game is over.
Yes, that's exactly right. There is zero silver lining other than the game's done. That's it. I mean, nothing to add. Just no, there wasn't.
Claws Out, Balls Out wants to know, you think this has to sting for Messingham a little more since he got blanked by the team that fired him? I hadn't thought of that. He was the former offensive coordinator for the previous coaching staff at Iowa State. Just give me your thoughts on Courtney Messingham and the state of this offense. How much lies at his feet, and how did he perform today as an offensive coordinator?
Well, I mean, you can't put a ton of blame when you don't have the weapons. So when you're already in dealing with not having enough, that can cause problems, as a play caller. Having said that, we got down on the goal line. Hey, that was just pathetic play calling. I'll call it like it is. That was bad. 3 out of 4 plays you ran the quarterback. I agreed with going for it on 4th. I even agreed with running the ball on 3rd because I'm a firm believer. If you're going for it on 4th, you're running on 3rd down. So, and to get closer. So I agreed with it. But then throw the football or at least spread them out. Do something. But you're going to run the same play again? It's like they didn't think that they were going to do that. It's like, okay, well, we'll run the same play. Oh, but they don't think that we'll run it again. And we did. And I just – some of the play calling, that was the ball game. That was literally the ball game. So I don't want to put all the blame on him. He's got to be better, though. Let's just call it what it is. He has to be better because, again, be creative, do something. And we did that, getting the ball all the way down there. And then we stopped doing that. It's like we just, okay, That's all we're going to do. Now, I know we don't have the playmakers. We don't, but it's almost like once the script is over, we have no idea what we're doing. And that's disheartening.
Brian, what I don't understand is one of the things this team has right now are some running backs. You know, they've got Deuce, they've got Harry, they've got fullbacks. They got Mosey, the true freshman, who's also pretty good. They got Tyler Burns. They've got other guys.
Yeah.
And they have shown that inverted triangle at times for K-State. They showed it a lot at North Dakota State. It has worked. It has really given defenses troubles because it's kind of based on misdirection and you don't know who's going to carry the ball. And they're not using it. In a point of the game when you have nothing working, you're not trying other stuff. And I kind of think they need to get to that. Go to Baylor and just try to run the ball down their throats. I like Pickles Cat asked a pretty good one here. Does K-State have to use the quarterback run game with the extra blocker to get the ball moving? They did it last week or last game out against Oklahoma State, and they really didn't do it too often in this game.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to if your offensive line is moving people.
Right.
Offensive line doesn't move people. So, we got to use a lot of misdirection and things of that nature. I mean, the line isn't they're not playing well right now. So you do need that extra blocker to get something going. But because our run game is basically consists of misdirection, tricking people, all of that stuff. We just can't line up and move people when we want to move people, and that's disheartening. So to answer the question, yes, but it becomes even more difficult when our line can't move people out of the way.
Yeah, it was really awful. I understand why – I understand this question. I certainly do. But with the failed success of Howard at the goal line, I think they kind of got away from it. Maybe they should have revisited it, but then they start falling behind so fast they try to throw the ball, and that just seemed to add to the troubles. El Camino Cat, the defensive collapse, was it just missing Sullivan and Hughes, your starting linebackers, or were there other major factors? I thought that was a big factor in the game, but I thought K-State's tackling is slowly eroding. They're doing a lot of throwing the shoulder at people again, which is a bad habit that's surfacing. I just thought K-State got worn down because its offense can't do a damn thing and the defense stays on the field.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it was clearly noticeable that the linebackers were not there. Clearly noticeable. Having said that, guys were dead tired. I mean, you're going to be on the field the whole time because the offense couldn't even put together drives. So, and they're just going up and down the field. The guys just got worn down. And defense has played well all year. Today was a clunker, but what are you going to do? I mean, when you're on the field the whole time, you got to have your offense help you out, and that didn't happen. It was just, it was a bad football game. It was just bad all the way around.
I like Pickles Cat has another one for you, Brian, including high school and junior college. What was your largest margin of defeat, and what was said after the game by the coaches and players?
Well, in junior college, we were pretty good.
Yeah, you were.
So we didn't get whipped. And, of course, at K-State, we were really good, so we didn't get whipped. I think it was in high school. I remember my sophomore year, we lost in the regional final, 35-14. So it was at the end of the year. By a team, they had 5 guys. 2 went to Michigan, 2 went to Michigan State, and another guy went to Indiana. And they literally lined up in the veer and said, "Here we come." And we couldn't stop it. And I just remember thinking, man, they're just better than we are, and there's nothing that we could. They threw the ball 3 times in the football game. So I remember it like it was yesterday. It was brutal. Coach didn't have a whole lot to say. It was just, they're better than us, and there's nothing that we can do about it. So sometimes it's just like that. And today, that's how it was. They were just better than we are. They just outmanned us, and they were just better. And you tip your hat, and, there's nothing that you can do. And if a team's just better than you, but it also doesn't help when you don't play well. And it doesn't help that you don't have all your guns. So Iowa State has better talent than Kansas State. But if all guys aren't there, and then we don't play well on top of that, this is the result. So that's just, it was just bad. It's just bad. But yeah, to answer the question, my coach didn't really say anything after the game. We all knew it. They were just better than we were, and that was it.
Well, that kind of felt like today. Any doubt in your mind Breece Hall is an NFL running back?
No doubt in my mind.
Yeah,
I know he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's a running back. He's a running back that can play at the next level.
Man, the previous staff just didn't quite invest in him the way they probably should have. In hindsight, I bet you they really wanted to. But they weren't sure he was a running back. They weren't sure where on their board he would be. Oh, boy.
Yep.
This just hurts because you didn't only lose out in a recruiting battle. You lost a battle in your backyard for a guy who's going to play in the league, and you maybe could have had him. I don't know if Breece Hall wanted to play for Bill Snyder. I'll just say it. I think the whole Matt Campbell thing seemed pretty charming to him, and it's worked out well. So you got to be happy for the young man because when things are going well, he made the right decision for Breece Hall, and that's
absolutely
terrific. A few questions here from Thundercat that I will field. Did Chris Kleiman have the option to postpone this game? He had the option if he fudged the numbers, if he kind of lied a little bit. They met the criteria for playing, and I'll give Coach this. He has not shied away from playing. This might change his mind on that next week if they're, right on the cusp of it again. They were out to their bottom line on defensive tackles, maybe linebackers, receivers. They were really down in numbers at a number of positions, but they met the criteria laid out by the Big 12 to play, and they played. He has opted to play football over finding a reason not to play football, and I like that. I think particularly in this year.
Yep.
This year is screwed up. Some teams are going to benefit from it. Some teams are not going to benefit from it. But Chris Kleiman knows his team is better playing the games and getting the experience because it doesn't count on their eligibility than not playing the games. If you delay the game, it may not be played later on. So go up there and give it your best shot. It worked at Oklahoma, and it blew up in their face against Iowa State. So be it. He also asked, how has Will Howard's lack of progress changed your mind about Skylar Thompson coming back? Well, I never have thought about him coming back or not because he won't say if he is. My suspicion is he will come back. And there will be a log jam at quarterback next season because they'll have three pretty good ones, plus Nick Ost will still be here. But if you're a fan that thought losing Skylar Thompson wasn't a big deal, I'm betting you're rethinking that stand right now.
Oh, yeah.
Not that Skylar would have made a difference in this game or that game, but he would have made a difference. Whether that converts into wins against Oklahoma State and, maybe more respectable losses against West Virginia and Iowa State, I don't know. But you would certainly prefer to have a senior, veteran, experienced quarterback in those road situations than a true freshman who is really kind of withered in the face of that, which is odd because I thought the first game against TCU would be the one that would get to him. It didn't. He won. He came home. And you know what? He just hasn't been the same on the road since. It's just kind of frustrating to watch. And the final one from him is, do you think this team kept fighting and has the right attitude despite the rout, maybe to salvage the season? And I honestly don't know because we're not privy to the locker room naturally, but we're not around this team at all. We're doing everything via Zoom. I mean, beat writers, we had a guy up there, Zach Carlson. I noticed the Manhattan Mercury was there, but a lot of beat writers aren't even going because you can cover it from home virtually the same as you can from the road. You don't have contact, for a little side conversation with someone. You don't pick up some of these things. I know the team had a good attitude coming into the week or coming into the off week last week, but they've lost some guys. And when you got guys jumping off your ship, it can really hurt your morale. Sometimes it can help you. You can be gone. You don't want to be here, be gone. But I think some of them were hard to explain and other ones were easy to explain. And there's just a lot of stuff going on. Now, as Deuce Vaughn said there at the end of the first half of this podcast, they got to come together. The leaders got to step up. They got to say, screw those guys. I mean, honestly, you got to say that. They're not with us. We're with us. Let's do something about this. And we're going to find out a whole lot about this team and where it's at as a program when they go to Baylor, because that's a game they can win despite their current troubles.
Yeah, and he's right. Leaders got to step up. Guys you got to band together and play and just go out there and who's able to play and go find a way to win a football game. That's just all you have to do. I know it sounds simple, and I know we keep saying the same thing, but it's the truth. You just got to go out there with who you got, line up, and go win a football game that you're capable of winning. Now, if you weren't capable of winning, go out there and do your best, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But this is a game that K-State should win. So they need to go and win it, just so to get the season back right. And then, like I said, it's a 2-game season. Forget what happened in the past. We got 2 games. Let's go win both of these football games. Let's band together and just move forward. I don't think, as first part of the question, I don't think the guys quit today either. I don't think they quit. Iowa State was just better than we were. And, they were just better. I don't think the guys quit, though. I saw us not play well. But there's a difference between not playing well and quitting. And I don't think the guys quit.
A couple quick ones to end this podcast. Worst performance by the Cats since, and that's from KSU Man. Well, that's got to be 2015, the 55-0 rout of K-State in Manhattan.
Yeah.
By Oklahoma. But, folks, that was Oklahoma, and that was a really good Oklahoma team. The similarity would be that they played that game without Jesse Ertz, their starting quarterback, and they were just completely overwhelmed in that game. Iowa State looked like Oklahoma today, but they're not nearly as talented as that Oklahoma team was in 15.
Nope.
The only other shutout in recent history was, I think, 96 at Colorado. That was the last road game. So, shutouts have been rare. This one was painful. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. Let's just hope it's not a train.
Yes.
Also, someone's asking here about does 5-5 K-State make a bowl game after this performance? That's, again, from Jedediah. I think so, but, I'm not worried about that. I'll be honest here, Brian. I don't think the bowls are going to get played.
I was just going to say, are we even going to have bowl games? I mean, guys, COVID running rampant. You're locked in a hotel for a week and doing all this. And I've been to bowl games. Bowl games are supposed to be fun. You go to the site, you hang out, you go have some fun, but you're practicing. You're in a hotel. But being locked away somewhere for a week is not my idea of having a good time, and it's dangerous. So I just don't know. I haven't heard that bowls were going to be played, but I haven't heard they weren't. So who knows? But if we could go to one, it'd be great. Don't get me wrong, that'd be great. But just for the practice time alone. But I don't know that that's even going to happen.
I would agree with you. They'll have the playoffs. I know that. They'll probably play those New Year's 6 games because those are kind of big bowl games.
Correct.
And I would imagine that the other bowls will try, but, boy, if you're a bowl operator, you worry about liability. You worry about a lot of things here. You have all the expenses. Does the TV money offset it? Because typically you need the ticket sales, which you won't have.
That's right.
If you're a team, do you even show up early to the bowl game because of what you mentioned? Why wouldn't you just practice in your own facilities, let everyone sleep in their own beds, and the day before the game fly in?
That's right.
I don't know. And I can see teams saying, you know what? This season has been a mess. We got to the end of our regular season. Bowl games are nice, but this season was free. We're shutting it down. We're done. Because I think the worst of COVID is maybe still ahead of us, at least in the short period of time as it gets colder and we see the cases going up. I don't think we're going to have much basketball either, folks. So it's going to be a long winter, but the winter can't nearly be as long as this game was to me, Brian.
No.
This game, I felt like this game started around 2007 and ended in 2020. It was that long.
Yeah, it was brutal today, Tim. It was brutal, man. And it got out of hand. It seemed quickly. And then, we're watching the game, you're watching it, and then all of a sudden it's 28-0. I'm like, what happened? What happened? It's like, oh my goodness, this is brutal. So Better days ahead.
Better days ahead. Baylor is up next down in Waco, followed by a December 5th date with Texas here in Manhattan. Pray for cold. Pray for chilly weather because Texas won't like it. And this team, folks, as bad as these 3 games have been in a row, still has 6-3 in the Big 12 on the agenda. And that, folks, bowl game or not, would be remarkable. And really getting to 5-4, matching last year's record with everything that's gone on this season, I'll take it. Go get another win, and the preparation starts Monday at the Veneer Complex with the players as they try to regroup and get it going. Brian, I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
As we close out this Power Cat Postgame podcast by Caddyshack Golf, we turn once again to the wise for his years. True freshman running back Deuce Vaughn talks about looking on ahead and what this team has to accomplish.
Just keep battling. I mean, we're going to get back to work on tomorrow with recovery and some stuff like that, and then we're going to get back on Monday. And just really the leadership is what has been getting hit on. We have to take control of our team. We've had some guys leave and some things like that, but just making sure that we take control of, the dudes that we have right now, just getting back to work and not taking anything for granted coming up in this next week, because we only have two games left that are guaranteed in the bowl game, everything that, but we're going to go give it our all. And then just coming together, just every day in practice, just getting better as a team is going to be the biggest thing.
Power Cat Podcast. All rights reserved. GoPowerCat.com and Spirit Street Publishing.
With Blue Link Plus, you can access your Hyundai Tucson Limited remotely. Doors unlocked, temperature set, lost car found.
There it is.
Get complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.